We're going to be taking a trip through the south along Interstate 85. Come on, let's go! Alright everyone, today I am doing Interstate 85. The reason I'm doing this highway is because I've been on the majority of this highway, all of it north of Atlanta, and I also have a lot of pictures of this highway within the Atlanta region and also north of it, so I want to show those off too. Also, Interstate 85 is one of the most well-signed interstates outside of North Carolina, obviously. But it is a pretty cool road and I want to cover it, so let us get started with this highway. But first, you're watching TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is the map of Interstate 85 as it runs from a junction with Interstate 65 in Montgomery, Alabama, all the way up to a junction with Interstate 95 in Petersburg, Virginia. And as you can see here, I have been on most of this route. So with that, we're talking about northbound Interstate 85. So we begin here on Interstate 65, where 65 is getting signed north for Birmingham, while we're getting signed north for Atlanta, which is the correct choice. And here we are being with both US 80 and 231, and these are two US highways that I have been on personally. Well, not at this concurrency, but at separate times. While 80 East is going to be joining with us as we head towards Atlanta, and 231 is going to be heading south towards Florida here. Here we have our first interchange request. This one was made by the real Tony123. He wanted to see this exit because this is the path that Interstate 85 will be taking in the future once Alabama signs 685. And here is where US 80 splits off from Interstate 85 as it gets signed for Wog and Pike Road. Interesting. And here we have our first mileage time. We get shorter on the top line at 6 miles away, and Atlanta is 152. Let me tell you, that is not one shorter distance. And at random interchanges, Interstate 85 is getting signed for Montgomery and Atlanta, which is the correct choice. And here we have another interchange request. This one again was made by the real Tony123. He wanted to see this because the Auburn Buc-ee's is located off this exit. I've been to a couple of Buc-ee's. I've been to one in Florence, South Carolina, and the one in Melissa, Texas. I recommend definitely checking out a Buc-ee's, and thanks for this request. Here we are meeting with US Highway 29, and between Auburn, Alabama, and Greensboro, North Carolina, US 29 is going to be paralleling Interstate 85, so that's, yeah. And here we have another interchange request. This one was actually made by Josh the YouTuber. He wanted to see exit 57 because this is where his favorite buffet is located off of, so that's pretty awesome. If it's his favorite, then I might have to check it out one day. Thanks for the request. And here we are meeting with US 280, and 280 is now going to be concurrent with us as we still head towards Atlanta. And this is where US 280 splits off from Interstate 85, as it will be joining with US Highway 431. And at this junction here, we are still signed for Atlanta, so that's awesome. And then here we get another mileage time. We get Atlanta from 105 miles away. And here we are meeting with US Highway 29. Also, that sign is in rough condition. We are now crossing over the Chattahoochee River into the state of Georgia. And then here we have a plain Georgia state line sign. Where's the Welcome to Georgia sign that we've seen like multiple times across this channel? And our first mileage sign in Georgia, we get Atlanta still on the bottom line at 79 miles away. And then here we have another interchange request. This one was made by Josh the YouTuber once again. He wanted to see this because this is where the LaGrange Great Wolf Lodge is located off of. So thanks for the request. And then a little ways up the road, we're now meeting with US Highway 27, which is also getting signed for LaGrange. And then we're now meeting Georgia's Interstate 185, as it's getting signed south for Columbus, which is the correct choice, while we're still getting signed north for Atlanta. And then here, exit 47 was another request made by Josh the YouTuber. He wanted to see this because he always gets off at this exit, and apparently, so thanks for the request. And then we're now entering into the Atlanta metro area. We're going to be meeting with Interstate 285, and the Atlanta airport is big, that it has 2 different highways that it's getting signed for, so that's interesting. Oh, and this was also another interchange request made by the Real Tony 123. He wanted to see this because this is the road that he takes to get to New Orleans whenever he goes to visit his family. And apparently Interstate 285 here, the Atlanta Beltway, becomes a snake and is engulfing Interstate 85 here, so that's awesome. And this road here is actually US Highway 19 and 41, 2 roads I have covered here. We also can see that we're getting signed to Interstate 75 North for Atlanta. In fact, here we are joining with Interstate 75, as we're now having 75 and 85 concurrency. And we're now meeting with Interstate 20, and north of here, this is the part of Interstate that I have personally been on. And 75 and 85 are now getting signed north for Chattanooga and Greenville, respectively. And then here in the heart of Atlanta, we're meeting with Georgia Highway 10, which just gets a lot of information here. We're also meeting with US Highway 19 and 29, which just gets 2 Kentucky treatments, which makes sense because we are literally in downtown Atlanta. And since I've recently been through this stretch of Interstate 85, I have a whole lot of Atlanta pictures that I want to show you guys. So I'm going to go off camera for a couple of minutes to show you all the pictures that I have taken within the city of Atlanta. Ta-da! Atlanta pictures. And more Atlanta pictures, along with a laundry list of exits here. And this is where we split off from Interstate 75, as 85 is now getting signed north for Greenville, which is the correct choice. And we also get the exit for Georgia Tech University for exit 250. And then here's another one of my own pictures. This one is of US 19 crossing over Interstate 85 on the Peachtree Street Bridge. Then we also have my own picture of meeting Georgia Highway 400, and I also have my own picture of 85 meeting 285 on the other side of the city. And here we have another interchange request. This one was actually made by Tiger Raven. He wanted to see the Georgia 140 exit because this is the exit that he takes to get to his hometown in Norcross, Georgia. So thanks for the request. And here's my own picture once again of Interstate 985 as it's being signed north for the good Gainesville, while we're getting signed north for Greenville. And then here we are meeting US Highway 441, which is getting signed for Commerce, Homer, and Banks Crossing. Also, the last time I was on Interstate 85, I actually stopped at this exit here to stay the night in Commerce, and I got my own picture of Interstate 85's controls of Atlanta and Greenville. And here's my own picture of a mileage sign with Greenville on the bottom line from 72 miles away. And then we are now crossing into the state of South Carolina over this lake here. And here's the Welcome to South Carolina proper sign. You've heard of Umpire, Arkansas. Now how about Fair Play, South Carolina here? Also, Why do we get South Carolina 243, but then we also get Road 23? I'm confused by that. And then here's another one of my own pictures. We still have Greenville on the bottom line at 42 miles away in our first mileage sign in South Carolina. And then here is another one where we have Clemson on the top line at 14 miles away and Greenville on the bottom line at 35. Hey, what's this? We have a picture of my 72 and 76 westbound thumbnail here, wanting me to promote you to go check out that video once you're done? Wonder why that's there. Oh, it's because we're actually meeting US Highway 76 westbound, which will take you over to Clemson. And this interchange was also requested by Tiger Raven because they're a huge Clemson fan. So thanks for the request. Here we are meeting with US Highway 178 is being signed for Anderson and Liberty. Oh man, here we go. South Carolina is making a stupid choice once again. They get easily on the top line and Greenville is our primary from only 19 miles away. Since we're already close to Greenville, how about do like Greenville and Spartanburg or Greenville and Charlotte here? Not just have Greenville from 19 miles away. This is totally stupid. And then here we are on the outskirts of Greenville. We're meeting with Interstate 185, which will take you into downtown Greenville and south to Columbia. And Interstate 185 here is America's most useless toll road, while 85 North is getting signed for Spartanburg now, which is the other half of the Greenville-Spartanburg metro area. And then still in the Greenville area, we're meeting with US Highway 25, which just gets the Kentucky treatment. And here's my own picture of Interstate 85 and a view of what you can try to see the Appalachian Mountains from here. And then here we have another mileage sign, and we get Spartanburg as our next primary from 27 miles away. And here we meet with US Highway 276 that's being signed east for Malden, which is a suburb of Greenville, and west for Greenville because 276 will take you into downtown Greenville. And then here we are meeting with South Carolina Highway 146, Woodruff Road, along with Interstate 385, which gets the awesome control cities of Columbia and Greenville. And here is that 385 and 85 interchange. And we're now going to be heading still north towards Spartanburg. And here we are entering into Spartanburg County. And this is a very awesome plaque. What? Lyman? I didn't know Lyman was mentioned on northbound 85. I thought it was only mentioned on southbound 85. Anyways, here's the exit for Lyman, and then we're now entering into the Spartanburg area as 85 has a business freeway loop here, which will take you into downtown Spartanburg, while we're still getting north for Charlotte now. Here we are meeting with Interstate 26 as it also gets great control cities of Columbia and Asheville, while we're getting signed north for Charlotte. And here we have another interchange request. This one was again made by the Real Tony 123. He wanted to see US 76 because it is mentioning of two Interstate 585. And Interstate 585 is one of the few channels that actually does not meet Interstate 85 directly. So thanks for the request. And here we have another mileage sign. We get Interstate 85 business on the top line, and Charlotte still has our primary from 72 miles away. And here we get another mileage sign with Charlotte from 69 miles away. And then we're now meeting with US Highway 221, and then here we have another mileage sign with Cowpens on the top line at 5 miles away, and Charlotte as our primary from 65. And this exit here for South Carolina Highway 110, I actually took a picture of because I actually stopped at this peach farm here place, which is right off that exit. And those peaches were absolutely delicious. I recommend checking it out if you ever take Interstate 85 through upstate South Carolina in the summer. And then here we have another mileage sign, as we can see, Charlotte is our primary still from 45 miles away. And this is our last exit in South Carolina, and as you can see, it's for US Highway 29. Oh boy, we're now entering into North Carolina. Let us see what North Carolina has to offer us here. And just like Jameis Winston, North Carolina has thrown us an interception. We were perfectly signed for like Charlotte all the way up until this mileage sign here. We're now getting signed for Gastonia. NC. Why in the world are you signing a suburb or an exurb of Charlotte here? This should be Charlotte proper, not Gastonia. You can have Gastonias in the top lane and then Charlotte. But Gastonia not as our primary. What happened to Charlotte? And then at random interchanges, it gets even worse. We're getting signed north for Gastonia and south for Gaffney. No. But finally, as we get a little bit closer into North Carolina, we get Charlotte once again as our primary from 37 miles away. And then here you are meeting with US Highway 74 as it's getting signed west for Kings Mountain and Shelby, while 29 and 74 east get nothing for some reason. Here we are meeting with US Highway 321, which is the road that will take you into Gastonia. And then here we have another mileage sign, and we're now getting another Charlotte suburb as our primary. No, if you want to sign something beyond Charlotte, this should be Greensboro. Charlotte and Greensboro, not Concord. Here you are meeting with North Carolina Highway 279, which will take you to the famous Dallas. I'm just kidding, it won't. It'll take you over to Dallas, North Carolina. And we're also meeting with North Carolina Highway 273, which has an afterthought of Belmont, along with its control city of Mount Holly. Here we are meeting with Interstate 485, as it's being signed for Pineville and Huntersville, and to Interstate 77, while we're getting signed north for the CLT Airport and Greensboro. Or are we? Because last time I checked, that within the city limits of Charlotte, 85 is getting signed for 2 suburbs, Concord and Kannapolis. So, are you just putting Greensboro to cover up the 2 suburbs that we're actually getting signed for, or are we actually getting signed for Greensboro, NC. Pick a lane. Oh, let me tell you, it should be Greensboro. And here we meet Billy Graham Parkway, which is actually the beginning of Charlotte Highway 4. Yes, Charlotte has their own highway system. It is one of the only 2 cities in the entire country that has it. The other one is Washington, D.C. Here you are meeting with North Carolina Highway 27 here in the heart of Charlotte, and it just gets Kentucky treatments, which kind of makes sense. And we're also meeting with North Carolina Highway 16, which will take you into downtown Charlotte and over to US 74. And then here we meet with US 21 and Interstate 77, and we get a Statesville headache here, along with Columbia. And then here is the northern terminus, Charlotte Highway 4 at exit 41. And then we're now meeting with US 29 once again, along with North Carolina Highway 49, and we're just getting signed north for Greensboro. And then on the north side of the city, we are meeting with Interstate 485 once again, and this time it's being signed for Huntersville and Matthews. And then here at our next mileage sign, we get Greensboro from 76 miles away. I wonder if it stays up. And then here we are meeting with US Highway 601, and we're now going to become concurrent with it as we head north towards Greensboro. But at random interchanges, we are getting signed for Lexington. So are we getting signed for Greensboro or Lexington? Pick a lane. Our next mileage time, we get Greensboro still as our primary from 65 miles away. And this is where US 601 splits off from Interstate 85 in Salisbury, while 52 is actually going to be joining with us as it's going to be heading north towards Winston-Salem. And here's the exit for US Highway 52 South, while 52 North and 85 North are now getting signed for Lexington. What happened to Greensboro? NC. Why in the world are you favoring US 52 over Interstate 85? If you want to have, you can literally just put Greensboro on there too, so you can have both highways control cities, not just US 52s. This is the most aggravating thing ever. But on our next mileage sign, apparently NC has done a 180, and we actually get both Winston-Salem and Greensboro on our next mileage sign. So this is an absolute rare W here. Let's go. And here we get another one as we meet a gobbledygook sign once again, and we have a lot of highways mentioned, but we still get Greensboro, Winston-Salem mentioned. And here is where we meet North Carolina's Interstate 285, where US 52, 70, and 29 all split off from Interstate 85, as they get signed for Lexington and Winston-Salem, while we're now getting signed north for High Point and Greensboro, which are good choices. And our next mileage sign, we get High Point as our secondary and Greensboro as our primary. And we're now meeting with US Highway 64, which is also getting signed for Lexington, along with Asheboro for the zoo, which I do recommend. And here's a cool thing, Interstate 85 is going under itself here, and as we can see here, Interstate 85 crosses over itself, and there's this rest area in the middle of the median. And the cool thing is that I actually have been to that rest area and took myself a selfie along with this yummy Mountain Dew here. And then once Interstate 85 becomes an actual highway once again, we are now meeting with Interstate 74, which is getting signed for Asheboro, Winston-Salem. And here we get another rare W as we get a lot of good information here. We meet with Interstate 73 along with US 29, 70, and 421 as they get signed for Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Yeah, that Martinsville's alright, I prefer to see Roanoke instead. While 85 North is getting signed for Durham and Sanford because of 421. And the next mileage time we get another rare W, we get Raleigh on the bottom line from 85 miles away. Wow. So they're actually favoring Interstate 40 here, which we haven't even met yet. Here's where US 421 splits off from Interstate 85, as it will become future Interstate 685, and it will take you down to Sanford. Here are meeting with Interstate 785 and 840, which will take you to West Interstate 40, as they're signed for Greensboro and Danville. And then Interstate 85 actually becomes concurrent with Interstate 40 eastbound, as we head towards Raleigh and Durham. And our next mileage time, we just get Durham as our primary from 45 miles away. And then here we are meeting with North Carolina Highway 62 and North Carolina Highway 49. While 62 takes you into downtown Burlington, while 49 will take you up to Liberty. I wonder what this train station sign belongs to. And our next mileage time, we still get Durham as our primary from 34 miles away. Interesting. I didn't know that Interstate 85 and 40 were known as the Sam Hunt Freeway. And then here we are meeting with North Carolina Highway 87 and North Carolina Highway 54 here, which gets good control cities. And here we get another awesome mileage time. We get Durham on the top line, and Raleigh is our primary once again from 55 miles away. And here we have our final interchange request of the video. This one was made again by the Real Tony 123. He wanted to see this exit because this is where the Mebane Buc-ee's is going to be. So that's going to be awesome. I mean, it's still 2 hours away from me, so I'm probably not going to visit as often. And here's the exit for the Mebane Chandler Outlets Mall off of Mebane Oaks Road. And then a little ways up the road, Interstate 40 is going to be splitting off from us as it's getting signed northeast for Raleigh, while we're getting signed north for Durham here, which is the correct choice. Here you are meeting with Business US Highway 70, as it will take you over to North Carolina 751 and Duke University. Here you are meeting North Carolina Highway 147, which will take you to downtown Durham, along to Research Triangle Park. And we also get a pull-through for 85 North, which also has Durham. But if you want to get into downtown, you just take 147 here. So I'd probably like to see maybe 85 north for Petersburg and Richmond, or just Richmond by itself, because Durham doesn't make any sense here. And here's where proper 15501 merges into us, as we're now going to be concurrent with it as we head through Durham. And here we meet with North Carolina Highway 157, everyone's favorite guessing game. And this is where US 501 splits off from US 15 and Interstate 85, as we just get this horrible reality once again. I did not like seeing this in the 501 video. And now we're meeting with Business 15501 along with North Carolina 55, which will take you into downtown Durham. And this is the exit that I've always gone onto Interstate 85 from whenever I went up to Fredericksburg to get home, back when I lived up there. And 85 here is now getting signed north for Oxford and Petersburg. And I prefer to see Oxford and Richmond here, but we do have a story about Richmond coming up soon. Here we meet with Interstate 885, which will take you into Raleigh. Well, 85 and 15 are still getting signed north for Oxford and Petersburg. Here's a spectacular view of Falls Lake as 85 and 15 are crossing over it. And this is where US 15 splits off from Interstate 85, so we're now getting signed for Creedmoor. Interesting. And then at random interchanges, 85 is now getting signed north for Henderson. So again, are we actually getting signed for Petersburg or Henderson? For our next mileage time, we get South Hill as our primary from 58 miles away. So we went from Petersburg to Henderson, now to South Hill? I'm totally confused. And once we enter into Henderson, we actually get signed for Petersburg once again. But let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, Interstate 85 was actually signed for... Yep, that's right. It was actually signed for Richmond at one point. But for some random reason, NC-DOT decided to say, hey, we can't have nice things, and decided to switch 85's northbound control city from Richmond to Petersburg, which was a sad thing. Even on the mileage signs, we had Richmond on the bottom line from 97 miles away. But in 2018, NC-DOT decided to switch over the mileage signs to Petersburg from 75 miles away. Oh, what the joy that we used to have. And then the last exit in North Carolina is for US 1 and, oh, the awesome US 401. And then literally like half a mile up the road, we're now entering into the state of Virginia, our last state. And our first exit here in Virginia is for secondary route 903, which will take you over to Lake Gaston. And on secondary route 903, we're getting signed north for Petersburg. In fact, we get Petersburg as our primary from 64 miles away. And then here we are meeting with US Highway 58, which is getting signed for Emporia, Norfolk for eastbound, and westbound for South Hill and Chase City. And then our next mileage time, we get Richmond as our primary. That's awesome, but sadly it's just a one-time thing here, as for every mileage sign between here and its northern terminus, we just get Petersburg on the bottom line. And then 3 miles up the road, we're actually meeting with US Highway 1, which will take you back into South Hill. And do you want to know where Kenbridge, Virginia is? It's not on US Highway 1, it's actually on a Virginia state route that for some random reason, Virginia is not signing here with US Highway 1. They're assuming that people know that Kenbridge is on US 1. Well, it is not. So how about put that Virginia state route up there too, Virginia? On our next mileage time, we do get Alberta on the top line, and Petersburg still has our primary from 54 miles away. You're arming with secondary Highway 712, and it'll take you over to Interstate 85 Davis Travel Plaza, which is also I have been to. And this stretch of Interstate 85 in Virginia is just endless trees along trees along trees along trees. That's what it looks like. Yes, if you do collect 460 blocks of blackstone, you will have enough to build a bastion here. And then north of US Highway 460, we just get a one-liner for Petersburg from 7 miles away. Now this is the appropriate time to put Richmond on here. Or you can even put Washington DC too, not just having Petersburg by itself. And then here we meet US Highway 1 once again. It just gets no control cities here in Petersburg. And then a ways up the road, we're now meeting with Interstate 95, which is being signed for Rocky Mount and 460 East for Norfolk. While we're going to be morphing into Interstate 95 North, which is getting signed for Richmond. And as we're merging into Interstate 95, we have one more exit, exit 69 for historic Old Town Petersburg, which I should definitely visit one day. I've been through Petersburg itself, it's just I'd never stopped at this exit. So that is the northern terminus of Interstate 85, and we end it here and move on to the places I'll go. So these are the places I'd visit if I ever was on the rest of Interstate 85, or if I ever was on it again to visit these places. As you can see here, here's the list, and if you have any other places that I should visit, let me know in the comment section below. And that ends Interstate 85. Thus, we have reached the northbound end of Interstate 85. I hope you guys enjoyed learning much about this direction of the highway. And oh boy, did Virginia and North Carolina just fall apart at the very end of the highway. It just completely made me angry. Anyways, southbound will be coming out Thursday, and then that's when I'll be doing my normal tradition ending. So I'll see y'all Thursday when we do southbound.